Welcome to the Healing You Method with Gloria.
That's just part of being human, is that survival mechanism is first and foremost.
Impressionable
Yeah.
onto a baby to try to figure out what all of this means with people around us and how important they are to keep them near us. We're so different. I mean, we all have like 86 billion neurons in in us. So we're so unique.
Especially like in the schooling systems, people conform because we're supposed to all figure it out the same way, and it's not how it works.
Welcome to the Healing You Method with Gloria. I'm Gloria's co-host, Gail Donahue, and we're here today to talk about this pathway that Gloria's discovered and the interesting aspect. I've been thinking about it, Gloria, with when you talk about how we've all been imprinted.
Yeah.
And I was curious about this. Well, like how did this imprinting happen? And how
Yeah.
do I like look at myself more in
Mm,
terms of understanding it.
mm. Well, how it happened is really kind of a miracle. We're born. That's how it happens. We're all born into this world, and we are very innocent. And we're very moldable. And so when we're born, depending upon our environment, that environment begins the imprinting process. We're like little sponges and we just start to absorb the frequencies around us. And each frequency represents something. So our mom, our dad, our other caretakers, our siblings, the community we live in, they have different ways of being. And as a living complex organism, we unconsciously our orientation is to figure it out in order to survive. That's just part of being human, is that survival mechanism is first and foremost. And
Yeah.
so make things, we start to make it mean things like, I'm not safe, I don't belong, but they're unconscious. It's not like those words in our head, but it's an experience.
Well, when you're talking about that, and I was thinking about, a little baby being born
Uh-huh.
and being a little baby. Well, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
We can't do anything for ourselves. We can't feed ourselves. We can't clothe ourselves. We can't even regulate our own temperature.
Yep.
And, we can't keep ourselves safe. We can't move. We need
We need care.
our caregivers to do everything for us. And, for a number of years, certainly when we're a little baby infant, it's 100%. But I mean, that makes some sense that it would be so impressionable
Yeah.
onto a baby to try to figure out what all of this means with people around us and how important they are to keep them near us because we wouldn't be able to survive without them.
No, no, there's actually really some sad studies that have shown in Russia how when there were so many orphans, when the nurses weren't allowed to hold them and care for them, the babies died. We need that care or we don't survive. So it is a survival mechanism of the
Mhm.
organism, this body that we inhabit. It has an orientation. It needs to make sure we survive.
Yeah.
So that's what its focus is. However, in my experience, when I'm actually born, I'm born with a light within me, a spirit. And as I grow and evolve, that is still there within me. And so, I don't know, it's like each person's going to have their own unique experience of that as well. And so for me, that really is most palatable when I'm in nature.
Mhm.
Especially when I'm outdoors, there's just life. I'm so much more connected with life energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're
I,
very,
I I love the outdoors too, and it's so nice to see the cycles of life. right now it's spring outside and it's so beautiful to see the blossoms coming out and the little buds. And I know for you, you've got your horses and how
right?
important they are to you.
Yeah. Well, even as a child, though, just looking at the fruit as it was growing and evolving, or looking at ants, little bugs in the ground, butterflies, and that wonder that a child has, that wonder and awe about life, looking at raindrops, looking at little rocks in the road. I mean, there's so many things. When you look through the eyes of a child, you see life completely differently.
Yeah, that sounds
And
so beautiful. Yeah, look through life through the eyes of a child. Oh, that's beautiful.
it is beautiful. I mean, it's a whole new world. I just got to spend time with my grandchildren, so I was looking through the eyes of the child a lot.
Mm.
And so those are portals that we can begin to tap into. And when we have the awareness that the way that we engage in life with others has an impact, and we take self-responsibility for that, that can actually support us to come from our heart instead of our head more frequently.
Mhm.
But most of us are born into a world where most of the adults or people are pretty stuck in their belief systems. And so we adopt them because when we're born, we sync up that you had those surrogate prefrontal cortexes. We sync up with those that we're closest to. We have that need for secure attachment that comes in. And if we don't get secure attachment, at least we want some kind of attachment.
Right. Yeah,
So
that secure attachment and that big one, survive. So important.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it really starts to, excuse me, run our behaviors. And we're taught by these others how to think, how to believe, how to live, how to survive, how to be successful. And it may not actually align with our heart of hearts.
Right. And who we are, because we're so different. I mean, we all have like 86 billion neurons in our, in us. So we're so unique.
Yeah, and so I love to have that be celebrated instead of made wrong.
Yeah.
Because many times, even especially like in the schooling systems, people conform because we're supposed to all figure it out the same way, and it's not how it works.
Mm.
And so being able to, again, look through the eyes of the child and recognize their gifts and talents and nurture that
Mhm. Oh, that
is really
sounds
important.
beautiful. Yeah. Well, thank you for giving me a little bit more and us a little bit more information about how this imprinting process works and some of the tools that you look at using. And I imagine there's probably more. So I
Oh,
look
yeah.
forward.
We can
Yeah,
do
I look,
lives and other conversations, you bet.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Gail.